And whenever you're measuring your brown sugar out, you always want to pack it into your cup so that you get an accurate measurement. To that, I'm going to add in a half a cup of unsalted butter. I'm going to grab my hand mixer, speed number 1, and I'm going to start slowly combining all of these ingredients. Now my butter is soft, it's been out for a few hours. I'm just going to start creaming all of this together, and this is important. You want to start getting a really nice creaming process going on. I'll increase my mixer a little bit. Once everything's broken down, I'm going to get my mixer going on full speed. That's high speed. And I really want to cream this well. So I want to do this for about 45 seconds or so. Okay, that's good. And now I'm going to add in 1 teaspoon of pure vanilla. This is equal to 5 milliliters or about 4 grams. And in case this is your first time visiting, welcome to my Bake Like a Pro YouTube channel. I hope you're enjoying your time here. And then I'm going to start sifting in all of my flour. This is all-purpose flour, 1.5 cups. That's 225 grams. Our baking powder, so that was 1 teaspoon or about 5 grams. And then I'll add in my salt. I'm going to grab my mixer one last time. Just start mixing all of this in. Speed number 1. We don't want to have a dust cloud. So you can see how easy this recipe is. Now if you find that your batter is a little bit on the dry side, you can always add a little bit of water. You could add 1 or 2 tablespoons, about 15 to 30 milliliters of water, just to loosen up the mixture a little bit. Okay, that looks good. I'm going to grab my chocolate chips, get those right in there. And I am using semi-sweet chocolate chips in this recipe. And I do have my oven set to 375 degrees Fahrenheit. So we're almost finished the recipe, and my oven is already at the correct temperature. Okay, there we have it. And now we are ready to fill our little tin. For today's twist, instead of baking our cookies on a regular baking tray like you usually see me do, I'm going to be using a little whoopie pie baking tin. This one here is made by Houten, but there are many different makers that make this type of tray. Just for comparison, I'm going to show you the difference between a whoopie pie tin and a cupcake / muffin tin. So I'll just turn this over, and hopefully you can see. I'll just tilt both of these up. Can you see the difference? I'm going to turn that one like that. Can you see how shallow the whoopie pie one is right here compared to our cupcake tin? If you don't have a tray like this, don't worry. You can use this, and it makes great little cookies as well. I'm going to use my little scoop, and I know for this size I need 2 with this size scoop. I'm just going to go 1, 2. If you do 1, it doesn't fill it out enough. 3 is too much. So I'm going to go 2. So if you use 3 of these, it'll be too much dough. 2 is perfect. So I'm going to fill all of these up, and I'm going to come back in a second. And then our last one. So that's 2 little scoops in each one. Now I've got a little bit of dough left over. And if you've seen enough of my videos, you know sometimes I like to do a little bit of a comparison. So in case you don't have this whoopie pie tray, I'm going to make a couple in our regular cupcake tin. So right now, I'm going to finish these off. I'm going to grab the back of a fork, and all I want to do is push these right into the corners. This is a very stiff dough, and it makes an amazing cookie. You may have seen this recipe already on my Bake Like a Pro YouTube channel. Just check for classic chocolate chip cookie and you will see the recipe. I'll put a link to it below the video. There, and you can see I missed one there. I thought I had done two. And you can see, look, when I push it down, there's not enough in there. So we'll do one more there. I have enough dough here to do my little comparison with the other baking tin. So there's two. I think that's good. It's the only one I missed. So I am spreading these because this dough is very, very thick and it does not spread out like some cookie doughs do when they're heated in the oven. So just get them all nicely pushed down. And our last one. Well, that looks good just like that. So now these I'm going to bake for exactly 12 minutes in my 375 degree Fahrenheit oven. Now I'm going to move these off and let's just work on the other ones in the cupcake tins. So just as a little comparison, we'll grab one of these, get it in there, grab my fork. You can see that one's pretty small. Or we could go two. And push those in. You can see there's a big difference between the 2 scoop and the 1 scoop. So I'll bake these off as well just to show you what they look like in our cupcake tin. I thought I would come back because I looked at the amount of dough I have left and I thought I've got enough just to fill a regular ice cream scoop. So I'm going to show you what the cookie looks like just doing it the regular way that we would do it on a cookie sheet, just like that. I'm going to take my fork and just push this down a little bit. That looks good. So I'm going to bake this one as well. I'm going to do this for 12 minutes as well. And I'm going to come back and I'm going to show you all of them at the same time. So here we have our first batch. So these are with the whoopie pie tin, and I'm just going to show you. I'll just flip these around a little bit so you can see what they look like. Now these are extremely hot right now, and I can't pull them out yet because they would just fall apart. So I've got to let these cool quite a bit before I bring them out. So I'm going to do that. I've got my other batch going, and I've got the extra little cookie. I'm going to do all those, and then I'll come back and I'm going to show you what they look like. So here we are again. These just came out. Now I've got the last cookie in there. I always feel that if I don't show you every part of the video, I'm kind of cheating you because it's kind of like I want you to be here for every single step. These are extremely hot right now, so I'm just going to let these ones cool down a little bit and then I'll remove them. I'll do the other one. That one there has about 8 minutes left to go on it. I'm going to let that one go and then I will come back. I'm going to show you everything at the same time. So these ones here have cooled enough. They're still warm, but look at how nice these are. I want to show you how easily they come out of this little tin. And this is a Teflon non-stick. Anyway, we're going to zoom in a lot more on these. These are really, really nice. And this little tray gives them a really nice shape. And you know what's nice? You can actually Put a nice scoop of ice cream on there and it'll actually hold it right in there. These smell really good. And our last one. So that's our first ones. We'll get to the other ones and then we'll compare them. We've got our two here. I'm just going to tilt those over. So there we have those. You can see the difference between them. This one here is a little bit too warm to be playing with right now. I will be zooming in on these, and there's the other one. These are actually a nice shape as well. So we're just waiting on our last cookie, and then I'll come back. So here we have our last cookie. That was in the oven for a total of 15 minutes. It's quite large. I'm just going to move it right off. Really nice cookie though. That's a pretty good sized cookie. So at this point I'm just going to let all of these completely cool and then I'll come back. So here we are a little while later. All my cookies have completely cooled down. You can see the really nice ones that we did in the whoopie pie tin. Those are really nice. I like the look of those cookies. And then these ones were done in the muffin tin or the cupcake tin. So you can see one, that was the 2 scoop. And then that there was the 1 scoop. But you can still, these ones are actually quite nice looking as well. So some little ideas. We're going to put those like that. And then we have that one. So let me just break this into this and I'll just show you. Look at this. I love this recipe. Whoa, look at that. These make amazing cookies. I hope you try this recipe out. I gotta take a little bite. That is so good. If you want to try a really amazing cookie recipe, I want you to try this recipe. You're gonna try it once and it's gonna be your go-to recipe. You're gonna want to write it out and you're gonna make it all the time. I can't say enough about these cookies. You have to make a batch and try them out. You will fall in love with them. I don't think I've given these cookies justice. I'm going to take some nice pictures of these. I'll put them on my Instagram page, also my Pinterest over at pinterest.com/bakelikeapro. I'll put a few on my Facebook page, facebook.com/bakelikeapro. So that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe if you wish, and I'll see you next time. Today's recipe, I'm going very simple. I have some store-bought pretzel rods here, some nice white chocolate here, and some candy canes. 3 simple ingredients. Let's get started. For my first step, I have my nice white chocolate here. I'm going to get it all into a bowl, and then what I'm going to do, I'm going to gently microwave this on defrost. I just want to get it down nice and melted. I don't want to get it too hot. So I'm going to pop this in and I'll come back in about a minute or so. So here I am again. So I did this on defrost. Very, very important. Defrost. Never heat on your regular mode in the microwave. 40 seconds, and then I did it for another 30 seconds. And look at this. You'll look at it and you'll think that it's not completely melted. You can still see the little ridges in the little bars, but look, when I start pushing it all, it just all comes together. And there are a couple of little pieces that haven't melted, but I'm not worried about that. I'll just mix it and it'll all melt up. So that there is our first step. Then we're going to get on to doing our candy canes. So next step. For my next step, we're going to grab 2 little sandwich bags, put one in the other, just like that. And then take all of your candy canes and just pop those in the inner bag. Get that bag closed. And then what we're going to do, grab a rolling pin or a little hammer if you have one, and then we're just going to start tapping this gently. So we just want to break all of the candy canes into little pieces. So I'm going to continue doing this and then I'll come back when they're all done. So a couple minutes later, that looks pretty good. And the reason why I used 2 bags is if you use just 1 bag, you're going to notice that the candy cane starts coming through. And even with the 2 bags, I can still feel a little bit. So you might even want to use 3 bags. But there we have it. So now I'm just going to pour those into a little bowl and then I'll come back. Oh, that smells really good. It smells like Christmas. So just before we start on our final step where we're going to coat the pretzel rods with our white chocolate, I wanted to show you what I was doing here. I've just got an extra little bowl here, and when I poured out all the little pieces, I noticed that there were a few very, very large ones like this, and I don't really want those on the chocolate. So what you can do is just get a little spoon and just spoon through all the stuff that you crushed. And if you see any really, really big pieces, just remove them. So that looks pretty good. So we're going to get on to our next step. But I just wanted to show you this. You know, so it's not always perfect. I mean, if you're sitting there and spending a lot of time and breaking every single piece, well, then you don't have to do this step. But if you do see a few large pieces, just pull them out. Okay, on to our last step. For our last step, super, super easy. We're going to grab our white chocolate. I'm using a spoon here. And I'm just going to get this right on top of the pretzel rod. And just do a nice coating. Go thick or thin. And you can dip these if you wish. But then you run the risk of getting the pretzel, perhaps a little bit of the outside shell of the pretzel, or the salt into your chocolate. That looks good. I just want to coat it a little bit. I'm going to put a little bit more on. Okay. Then I'll just grab my candy canes and just do a little sprinkle right on there. And this is where the magic happens and everything starts looking really, really nice. And use your fingers because you do have more control than with a spoon. Look at that. Doesn't that look great? Wow. Let's do another one. So I'll do one more like this, but I'm going to zoom in a little bit because I realize I'm a little bit far away. By the way, that's a cutting board that you see underneath, and that's just a little bit of parchment paper. That way we can just easily lift this up. And these here are little stationary metal clips that I use for baking as well. So let me just zoom in and then we'll just finish this one off. So I've just zoomed in and I've also rotated my board just a little bit to give you a different angle. So again, grab our white chocolate and just get that on there. And this time what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave a little bit exposed for a handle. We'll go all the way down. We'll keep going. I'd say right about there is good. Okay. I'm just going to mix up my candy canes and with my fingers again, right on. Just sprinkle, sprinkle, sprinkle. And the freshly cracked candy cane smells really good. Look at that. Awesome. I really, really like that. And now I'll show you one other different way that you can do this as well. So what we want to do is find a glass that's going to be able to cover most of the length of our pretzel rod, which this one does. So that's pretty good. And now I'm going to fill this with our white chocolate. So I've got my white chocolate here. You just want to tilt this down and then grab your pretzel rod right into the chocolate. Give it a nice turn. I'm just going to tilt it a little bit more so I get a little bit more on the pretzel. That's good. And then just lift it and just let it drain off. You can give it a little shake if you wish. Shake, rattle, and roll. Give it a little turn. That looks good. And then onto our parchment, and then we are ready to coat. So different ways to do it. Whatever way you think you would like to try it that way. This here has a more rustic kind of look. This here looks a little bit more like it was bought at a store. So either way, we'll get that on there. And look at that. Oh, that looks amazing. Love it. So here's the one that we dipped into our glass. So it's fully covered the pretzel. And then these are the other ones that I did by hand, just by drizzling it on with our spoon. So one here and one here. I'll turn that around. You can kind of see the difference. So there we have it. So I think what I'm going to do, I'm still zoomed out quite a bit. I want you to see the detail on these. And just for the last part of our video, I'm just going to zoom in a little bit more just to show you really close up. For the last part of my video, I've just zoomed in quite a bit. So here we have the pretzel rod and then our nice white chocolate with those little pieces of candy cane. And this smells really good. So that's really it for this video. This was a really fast one, really fun to do. You can see that either way is nice. So this one here was the dipped one, and this is where we poured the chocolate on. Either way, a really fun way to do it. Maybe try both ways, get your kids involved. That's it for today. I hope you enjoyed my video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe if you wish. I really do appreciate that. That's it, and I'll see you next time. And these are my white chocolate M&M bugles. 3 simple ingredients, so let's get started. I'll quickly go over what I have here. I have some peanut butter M&Ms, some bugles, and our white chocolate. So this is a really simple one today. Have fun doing this with your kids. You're gonna grab a little bugle, just dip it right into the chocolate, place it down, grab one of your M&Ms, and these are slightly larger because these are filled with peanut butter. That looks good. Not everything has to be an hour process, so this is a really fun one because it is so quick. And I'll keep that little M sticking out at the top and just pop that right in there. And these will just solidify in about 20 minutes or so. And you have a nice little holiday treat. So a little dip. Place it down. Grab your M&M and just pop it right in there. Just like that. Do another one. These are fun. And these look really good when you have a whole bunch of these on a plate. Looks really spectacular with the green and red. Get one down there. Do another red one. Perfect. And you could take white chocolate if you wished and just dip the ends as well. But I like it like that because you can pick it up and you don't have to worry about the chocolate melting in your hand. So that's it for this really fast video. I hope you enjoyed it. Try this out with your children. This is a really fun one to do. Please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe if you wish. I really do appreciate that. That's it, and I'll see you next time. Oh, I forgot to zoom in. Okay, so since this video is really short, I'll just do another one. So dip. What looks good? Right there. I guess I'll go for another green one. And just pop that in. And then you just want to let these set up. And there we have it. And now I'm really going. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time. rods. You can see how long these are in comparison to my hand. They're probably about 8 inches long. You're going to need some white chocolate and some crushed up candy canes. Now in my very long version, which is about 8 minutes long, I show all of this process in a lot more detail, but for this recipe, in this video, I'm just going to do this very quickly. So we'll start. Grab one of your pretzel rods, a little bit of your white chocolate, and I'm going to leave a little bit for a handle. So I'm going to grab my really nice white chocolate and I'm going to just start drizzling this all the way down the pretzel. And I hope you try these out. These are really, really good. Okay. Grab your crushed candy canes and just use your fingers. You have more control with your fingers than you do with a spoon. And just get some of this on there. And that looks good, just like that. And there we have it. I'll do one more and I will zoom in so that you can see it a little bit closer up. So we'll get our next one in line. Grab a little bit more white chocolate and I'll start getting it all onto that pretzel rod. You can also put your white chocolate into a glass and then dip the pretzel rod as well. In my long video I show you doing that technique as well. Grab our crushed candy cane and one last time right on there. And these are really, really good. I hope you try this recipe out. That's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe if you wish. That's it, and I'll see you next time. Ingredients: some white chocolate, which I have already melted down and that is ready to go, some crushed up candy canes, and our last ingredient, some pretzel bites. 3 simple ingredients. Let's get started. So I've got my melted chocolate here and I'm just going to grab some on my spoon and I'm going to start drizzling that right over the little pretzel bites. And you can also take these and just dip them right into the chocolate if you wish. I'm going to do it like this today. So a little bit on each one. So this is what the candy canes look like before I crush them up. I just put them into some baggies and rolled them out with a rolling pin. Crushed them all up. And this is what you get. Now I'm just going to grab candy canes and just drizzle them on top. Super, super simple, super fast, and these are really, really yummy. And there we have it. And as you know by now, I always like to zoom in, so that's what I've done for the final little bit of our video today. So we have our little pretzel bite, our nice white chocolate, and our crushed candy cane on top. So a really fun one to do. I hope you try this out during the holidays. That's it for today. If you enjoyed my video, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe if you wish. I really do appreciate that. That's it, and I'll see you next time. Bar with some white chocolate and M&Ms. Today I'm going to be using a professional chocolate mold, but you can use any chocolate mold at home that you wish, or you can take a piece of parchment or wax paper and you can turn this into a chocolate bark. For my first step, I'm going to gently melt my chocolate in the microwave on the defrost mode. So I'm going to go do that and I'll be back in a second. So my white chocolate is ready to go. You can see it's nicely melted. The first thing I'm going to do, grab my M&Ms and I'm just going to place them all around. And in case you're wondering, there's about 200 grams of white chocolate in the bowl. Each one of these little cavities holds about 100 grams. That looks good. And then we'll just start getting our beautiful white chocolate all over. Oh, this is going to be so good. And then I'm just going to start tapping this, because I do not want to overfill it. So it's always a good thing to tap before you overfill. And that's perfect. And now I'm just going to pop this into my fridge until it's chilled, and then I'll come back and I'll show you the final product. All you have to do is just turn your mold over and the whole thing just pops out like that. Really, really nice. Let me zoom in. You can just snap it anywhere you want. Look at that. All those beautiful M&Ms in the middle. Really, really simple. And there we go. So that's it for today's really quick video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe if you wish. Try this one out with your children. A really, really fun one to do. So that's it for today, and I'll see you next time. Our last ingredient, a 1/4 cup of granulated sugar. 3 simple ingredients, so let's get started. To start off, I want to gently melt my chocolate. I have a little stovetop element and some hot water. I'm going to get this going. I want to bring this up to a simmer. We don't want boiling, but we do want to have a little bit of steam being created to heat our bowl. I'm going to get my bowl on top. And I'm using a really good dark chocolate here. This is 72% cocoa. And what I want to do, I'm just going to add a few of these to the bottom. And I want to show you how easily this melts. So I do have a lot of questions about melting chocolate and how easily it should melt. So I'm going to get this going. As soon as the heat from our pot starts heating the bowl, we should start seeing some melting going on. So I'm just going to pause the camera for now. I'll wait about a minute and then I'll come back. So this is about a minute later. My water is starting to heat up now, and you can see that the chocolate is already melting. And if I start just moving this around, you can see how easily this chocolate melts. That's a good indicator that you're using some good quality chocolate. If your chocolate does not melt on its own like this, then that means the chocolate is probably not good for using in a chocolate ganache recipe. You want something that melts extremely well, like this. So now that I've shown you that, I'm just going to dump all the rest in. And now I'm just going to let this go. This might take about 5 minutes. You really don't want to rush melting chocolate. I'm just going to let this go really slowly, and I'll come back when it's completely melted. So this is a few minutes later, maybe 2 or 3 minutes maximum. And I thought I would just come back before it's completely melted, just to show you our progress. And as it's melting, we can just give it a little bit of a stir and get more of that chocolate at the top down near the heat source at the bottom of the bowl. But you can see how nice this chocolate is melting. Oh, it smells good too. So another maybe 2 minutes or so, and that should be ready. And then we're going to add in our sugar. So let that go another 2 minutes, I'll come back. So this is a couple of minutes later, and you can see now my chocolate is completely melted. I'm going to get all of that granulated sugar and get that right in there. And I want to let that dissolve. Oh, that smells good. Now we are going to be adding cold whipping cream to this later on, but I want to let this dissolve first, so the heat of the chocolate is going to help dissolve our sugar, but then we're going to let this cool down before we add in our whipping cream. And that looks good. So just take your time. So now that I've got all of that sugar incorporated, I just want to let that sit there for a couple of minutes before I take it off our little water bath, our bain-marie. So I'm just going to leave that there. I'm going to leave it for about maybe 3 minutes. I'll come back and then we're going to let this cool down, and then we'll get on with our next step. So this is a couple minutes later. That looks good. I just wanted to let that heat get in there and dissolve that sugar. And that looks good. So at this point, I'm just going to remove this from our hot water bath. I'm going to let our chocolate cool down, and then I'm going to come back and we're going to whip all of this together. Now that my chocolate has cooled down to room temperature, I'm going to grab my whipping cream, and I'm just going to get all of that in there. Just get it all in. Use a little spatula. You don't want to waste any. So this is whipping cream, 35%. That's good. And now I'm just going to slowly get all of this together. Now you could start using your electric mixer, but I just thought I would do a little bit of this by hand just to show you what it looks like. Now if you do find that it's not coming together really well, you can always put this back on your little water bath, your bain-marie, and just get a little bit of heat into the bowl. So that's good. Now I'm going to switch over to my electric mixer. But you can see at this point how thick this is. And that's really nice. I'm going to grab my electric mixer, and now I'm just going to start whipping this. So that's about a good minute or so of whipping, and let me just show you how nice this is. So look at this. Amazing. And I'm going to be using this whipped chocolate ganache in another video. If you want to see that video, it's going to be a very dark chocolate cake. I will put a link underneath this video in the description box, and also check up in the right hand corner if you're on a mobile device, or even if you're on your computer, there's a little I, the letter I with a circle. Just touch it and it should bring up a little menu, and you will see another video where I make a very dark chocolate cake, and I'm going to be using this exact whipped chocolate ganache in that recipe. And what I think I'm going to do, I just want to zoom in a little bit because it looks like I'm pretty far out. So I just want to show you the texture of this. Now that I've zoomed in, I'm not going to move around too much because I don't want to get out of focus here. But I just want to show you how nice this is. Look at this. Hopefully the camera can pick that up. Got that there. Amazing, super rich, and so easy to make. So what I made today is my whipped chocolate ganache, and it looks very similar to a chocolate mousse. Technically, to be a chocolate mousse, we would have had to take our whipping cream, whip it first, and then fold it into our chocolate. But as you saw me do today, I put it into our chocolate before I whipped it, So it is technically not a chocolate mousse, but it's the basic same kind of texture. So a really fast and easy way to make this. If you're not comfortable with making a chocolate mousse, this is a great way to go. So that's it for this really fast video. If you enjoyed it, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe if you wish. And if you're on Facebook, check me out. I'm at facebook.com/bakelikeapro. So that's it for today, and I'll see you next time. So for my recipe today, we need equal parts of cream to chocolate. This is a 1/2 cup measure, and also in the bowl is a 1/2 cup of whipping cream. So before I filled my cup with chocolate, I filled it with cream and then I poured it into the bowl. So what you see in the bowl is exactly that amount there. So it doesn't matter what measure you use as long as you have equal parts. And the fun part about this recipe, because my chocolate is already warm and in a liquid form, we can directly add it to our cold cream. So we've got our cold whipping cream, we've got the chocolate. I'm just going to get that all in there. And just like you've seen me do many times when I'm doing a chocolate ganache, this is exactly what I do. And then I would just simply start mixing this together. But today what we're going to do is we're going to do one more step, and we're actually going to whip this. So I want to get all of that chocolate out. That's good. I'm just going to grab my hand mixer. And I'm going to start mixing this together. And you can already see how thick this is. Usually when I make chocolate ganache, the cream is much warmer or hotter, and so it really melts everything down. But right now you can see that this is already turning into like a frosting type of texture here. Look at this. And we've just started mixing. So I'm going to start going a little faster, and I'm actually going to whip some air into this. So I'm going to go for maybe 2 minutes and then I'll come back. And there we have it. So that's about 2 minutes of mixing, and you can see that the color of the chocolate has really lightened up, and you can see some nice peaks have formed here. And that basically is it for this recipe. You could take a little bit of sugar if you wanted to sweeten this up a little bit, maybe about 1/8 of a cup of sugar. Get that in there and mix that in as well. That would stiffen it up even further and add a little bit of sweetness to it. You could also add a little bit, just a tiny bit of coffee to this. Excellent as well. So what I think I'll do is I'll just zoom in a little bit just to show you how nice this is. So I've just zoomed in, and I've also brought my camera lights a little closer because I noticed that the scene was a little bit dark. But look at this. Look at how nice this is. You see how thick this is? And this is what I call my fake chocolate mousse. Because to be a chocolate mousse, you have to mix the ingredients individually. You should be whipping your cream first and then folding your chocolate in. But look at this. You can see how nice this is, and this is what I call my fake chocolate mousse because we did it all in one shot. Look at how beautiful that stuff is. Really, really nice. And if you put this into the fridge, this is going to really firm up. I'll have to try a little bit of this. Oh, so good. I can actually feel the air bubbles tingling my tongue. Really good. That's it for today's really fast video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe if you wish. I really do appreciate that. That's it, and I'll see you next time. Oh, that's really good.